Let's meet the women supporting, guiding, celebrating women with their wealth. You will hear from women millionaires, how they got there, what they wish they had known, what got them to be a millionaire, the emotional side, the spiritual side, the practical side of wealth. You'll also get to meet the women behind the scenes helping make it happen. Let's dive into Women Behind the Millions. I am Jessica Weaver, your host, best-selling author of 3 books, wealth advisor, and founder of the Women's Wealth Boutique. Let's start meeting the women. Hello, ladies and money queens. We are here on Women Behind the Millions, and tonight we're talking about another version of wealth, your health. I mean, what's more important than your health? Yes, we have money, but we need our health to be able to enjoy our money as well. And tonight's theme is regaining your body's wisdom. And I couldn't help but think of this mantra: my body knows what is best for my health and well-being. And I know, and I'm guilty of this too, where we just live too busy of lives to slow down and to touch base with our bodies and to see what is it that my body needs in this moment. And so many times we're in that fight or flight moment. We're in survival mode. We're stressed out, and our body knows it before we can feel it. So we start to get those physical symptoms. So slowing down and taking these pauses, and that's what I've loved about this season of Women Behind the Millions, our Rise and Find season that coincides with our newest anthology book at Pink Fix Productions, Rise and Find, is taking that time to see, what is it that I need when it comes to my money? What is it that I need when it comes to my body and nutrition? What do I need as a parent? What do I need as a spouse? What do I need in the workplace? And delegating. Those check-ins with ourselves is what's going to get us onto that healthier path of success. And as we talk about with Jamie Van Kijk, I can have it all, but in order to have it all, I can't do it all. And that's where we bring in these different experts as well. And full disclosure, I have gone through this process with tonight's guest, so I'm very excited to talk with her and to dive even deeper when it comes to your nutrition and your health. I'm going to read you a little bit about tonight's guest, her chapter in Rise and Find. And I just love the title of it, Regaining Your Body's Wisdom, right? Our body knows so much. It knows what we need. We just need to quiet our lives down to take time and listen to it as well. And as our guest starts with her chapter, have you ever felt like you just simply can't keep up with life these days? The pressure of getting everything done throughout the day and being present for your family can feel so overwhelming. Women have been carrying the load on their shoulders for many years when it comes to taking care of everyone else. Times are changing, and the time is now to put yourself first. Without you, that extensive list of to-dos will never be accomplished if our bodies aren't functioning at their highest potential. And that's what it is, right? How do we get our bodies operating how they're supposed to be operating at full capacity? We're going to talk about fatigue, these moments, being a working mom or having your own business where you just feel so depleted and exhausted. And it feels no matter what you put into your body is not quite doing the trick anymore, or it's affecting your sleep. It's affecting how you feel, how you dress, how many times you feel bloated, you don't put on certain outfits. You try to hide. And then when you're out at a meeting, you're going to kind of shy away. You're not feeling like your full self, or you're nervous to go out and eat certain things or to be social because of your tummy, your gut issues, and how much wisdom our gut has too, ladies. So we're going to go into all of it. But that reminder of my body knows what is best for my health and well-being is going to be the theme for tonight's show, that mantra, that grounding piece for it. So tonight we have with us Brianna Frost-Smith. She started NRT, Nutrition Response Testing, after she had 2 home births and fell in love with a holistic lifestyle. She's 31 and from a small town in New Jersey, has 2 beautiful children, happily married to her best friend. She loves hunting and fishing. Ooh, we have to talk about that. And providing for her family, just like back in the day. Yes, this is going to be a fun interview. So let's bring to stage Brianna or Bri. Welcome to Women Behind the Millions, Bri.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
It is a pleasure to have you talking about our health. I mean, we all know somebody who's been complaining about their health and their gut issues for many years, if not months, weeks, or it's ourselves as well. And I had the pleasure of meeting with Bri in her hometown in South Jersey, New Jersey, another Jerseyite here with us. And I was excited to find Bri and that she came to do the work at Pink Fix Production to join our community selfishly, because I've been to doctors before and they just like, here's a prescription that they slap on you. And then when that stops working, well, let's just double the dose. And then let's just double it again and see. And I just don't do well taking medication. I don't like it. I feel strange. It doesn't sit well with me physically or mentally. I just don't like these things coming into my body. So I knew there was a root cause. So like, why aren't we getting to that root issue of why I've had reflux my entire life, and why does it heighten in certain times as well? So thank you, Bri, for the work that you're doing. We're going to get into how it all came to be, what got you into nutrition response testing, and then we're going to talk about what exactly it is too.
Okay. So I was on the phone with my friend and I was complaining how I was always tired and tired of being tired all the time. And I went and got blood work and everything you can imagine they drew up. I had 8 vials drawn, and they came back and they called me and they're like, everything's normal. Nothing came up. I'm like, not one thing, nothing. They're like, nope, everything seems great. I'm like, well, there has to be an answer here. Like, I'm not just going to stop at a dead end and just chalk it up like, okay, I guess I need to sleep more when I thought I was sleeping enough. So I found a practitioner out in Cherry Hill and I started to see her, and it was amazing. My body responded so quickly, and I just felt alive again. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. It didn't take much. It didn't take long to feel like this again. And it was all simply diet and supplements, whole food supplements that I was just lacking and I needed to change. And sure enough, I'm like, I need help. I need to do this. I felt like so drawn to it. I just needed to be a provider for everybody else, because this was just amazing how much better I felt within such a short period of time.
I was going to say, Dad, that quick of results, you're like, I'm in. I am all in on how this works. I'm going to learn it myself so that I can bring this to even bigger audience, even bigger stage. In your chapter in Rise and Find, you really get into how we all feel as a new mom, being exhausted. Your body's changed completely. You're trying to figure out this new body, figure out how to keep a baby alive as well, take care of yourself, and that exhaustion. And then did it just linger with you and it was getting worse?
Yeah, it was I was a year in with my daughter, and I was still breastfeeding. So it wasn't like I was coming off the breastfeeding hormones and things were changing. It was just, everything was the same, but nothing was getting better. So she was finally sleeping through the night. I chalked it up to that at one point. I'm like, maybe she's just not a great sleeper. So that could be why, but nope, she was sleeping through the night. And sure enough, I had enough. I'm like, I can't function anymore. This is not okay. I can't take naps every day with her. So like, wake up from a nap, still feel tired.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And we just think, this is how it's going to be. This is how it is. And my body changed. My life's changed. I remember one friend telling me, you have a child and it sucks the life out of you. And then you never quite get that 100% back. So in my mind, I'm like, that's just how it is. We're just going to be tired the rest of our lives being a mom as well. But there has to be an underlying cause of why I'm so lethargic all the time, despite her sleeping through the night as well. Talk to us about nutrition response testing. What is it?
It's magic.
It's fascinating by it.
It's absolute magic. Nutrition response testing is based off applied
Your magic soundbite.
Yeah. So muscle testing, we can do it virtually. We can do it in person. It's leading us to figure out what the root cause of your underlying symptoms are. So we don't chase symptoms. We don't really hyper focus on them as much. We like to just see what the body is going to lead us to through the muscle testing. So we have our stressors. We have our post-pandemic factors, which is a huge one right now because of COVID and all that. We also have our chemicals, our metals, our foods, our immune. Scars can even be a stressor that could throw our whole body off balance.
Scars, and you think of like C-sections, right? 2 C-sections. Wow, that can really impact it.
Yeah.
It's interesting you said metals. Right before we started recording this, I saw on Instagram, and it's amazing how everything knows when you're down a path of research, and it just finds information for you, that they tested 21 different fast foods, right? All the ones that we know. And all of them had metals in their food.
I believe it.
Lead was the biggest one.
Yeah.
Lead. And they're attributing that, again, this is somebody's thought, 1 in 12 kids have food sensitivities. 1 in 5 kids have eczema, which I've heard from a lot of people that is a gut issue, eczema. 1 in 4 kids have childhood depression. 1 in 5 kids have a mental health disorder. 1 in 200 kids have OCD. 1 in 285 kids will be diagnosed with cancer before their 20th birthday. Wow, that's really scary. And they're saying, metals is a huge issue.
Going up, yeah. It's a shame, and it's not always necessarily the way that it's processed, but it's the way there's natural lead in our soil. So there's natural metals in our soil. So we're not always going to be able to avoid all of it at all costs. But that's why it's so important to stay up on detoxing and making sure that your body is functioning properly so we can remove those metals. Now, there are times where there are a gene that could possibly alter our detox pathways, such as MTHFR, the good old MFR gene is like what I like to call it. Some people have it, some people don't, and about 80% of Americans right now have it and don't even realize they have it. There's different copies of this gene, so if you have all of the copies, then you have a very, very hard time detoxing altogether. But if you have half of the so if you have 1 copy, you could detox at 50%, which is better than nothing, but it's still hard for you to detox. A lot of times when you're going through childbirth and you have your baby and they say, oh, they have like the angel kiss on in between their eyebrows or the stork bite on the back of their head, that could be a symptom or a sign that, hey, you might want to get them checked for MTHFR, because you could have had a copy and not even know, because they don't typically test your blood unless you ask for it. So wow, that is a huge factor.
The strawberry, the raspberries, is that it?
You're talking about? It's usually right here, and it's like a light pink in between, or in the back, right in the back neck of your neck area.
Yeah.
And it could last for a couple of years. I mean, mine still comes out when my husband says when I get angry.
It shows up. So what do you do then if you have this and you aren't able to detox?
You try to lighten your load. So you lower toxic chemicals, you lower foods that are high in lead if you can. Just being aware as much as you can. Just the lighten load is definitely helpful, because we're getting sprayed from chemtrails all the time, and we're going constantly outside, and there's Roundup everywhere, and there's pesticides, and
it's just a life of chemicals.
I mean, I wish we could all live in a bubble and be safe, but
sure. And something else, and like I know it came up with my testing, is radiation. A whole different world with, right? You see girls have this in their bras, right? And it's like right on their tissue. or you put in your back pocket, or men put it right in their front pockets, right next to their organ.
So there's a huge study going on right now with cell phones and radiation, and it is very scary because they don't want us to know how bad it really is. They don't want it to get out there because they probably feel attacked in a way.
Yes, we created this amazing thing, right? All information we could ever need right here. So simple to use. All of our jobs, right? We need our computers in order to work. We need the internet in order to work. We're so reliant on that technology as well.
Yeah, everybody's always wearing an Apple Watch.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And the earpieces for the wireless headphone sets, you're basically putting your head in a microwave when you put them in your ears.
Oh my gosh, this is fascinating, Brie. Horrifying, but there is hope. There is hope. When you work with Brie, you figure all this stuff out and how it's affecting you personally and how your body's reacting to it as well. So when I first asked you about NRT, nutrition response testing, you said it's quantum physics, it's energy, something energy. Let's dive into that a little bit more, because I love quantum physics. I love how it affects money. I believe everything is an energy. We are all energies, right? And we attract what we attract for different reasons as well. So how is quantum physics involved in this?
So if you think about, if you take an atom and you split it in half and you put one half in China and you have one half in this room and you agitate this one here in our room, it's going to react in China at the same exact time, the same exact way that you're agitating it. It's also equivalent to twins. So say twins, they are very close. They know a lot because they were born together. They grew in the womb together. So if one of the twins has a very, very bad feeling about the other twin, they will happen to call them and say, "Are you okay?" And maybe they were just in a car accident, or they just have that innate feeling and intuition that just really sets in. So quantum physics, it's all about energy flow. Everything is energy. We're connected through nothing right now talking on this interview. It's all frequencies. So we all operate off of frequency. Even our clothes have certain frequencies. They could either be a good frequency or a bad frequency.
Ooh. And so this is how you're able to do your work virtually.
Yes.
As well, because of these frequencies. So am I on with you when you're doing the testing virtually?
Yes. Yeah. So I could hone in on a picture. I could hone in on FaceTime. I could, if they are in the room, they cannot be tested like a child per se. They're running around the room and I can't get them to sit for the exam. Then I'll just sit there and I'll just do the test while they're sitting there. And it's all about intuition and thinking about that person while you're doing the entire test. So I just run through the chart, run down the line, and it just guides me through the answers that I need, which is pretty impressive.
We're going to get into a little bit more. Talking about energies, one of my recent coaches, Noelle Agape, had this comment, and it really made me reflect on it, right? What is the energy of the food that you're putting into your system? And a lot of times we're not even thinking about that. It's like, I'm hungry. This is what I brought to eat, shoveling it in. But really take it, what is this? And then what kind of energy am I going to have as a result of putting it in? Really made me take a step back to reflect on what kind of crap am I loading myself with? And does it ever turn out well for me? No. Versus, creating a new habits. I'm on that, what is it? Sober Curious fad I know millennials are really into this. So I haven't been drinking since really the start of the year.
That's amazing.
And the more I'm removed from that, I'm like, I don't really care. I'm not craving it. I don't want it. I'll drink some non-alcoholic beers and wine. But after one or two, I'm like, I'm okay.
Yeah, that's how I feel lately. I don't know. I don't need it. I don't want it. I feel like it's so toxic. And I read something somewhere, every time you drink alcohol, basically your soul is leaving your body. Like you're just leaving from your body. Like when you black out, your soul just leaves. And I'm like, wow, that makes total sense. You don't remember anything, you black out. You feel like horrible the next day. Yeah, you leave. I don't know where to go.
Just releasing it. I don't care. Yeah, when I really started to think about like this, and it's completely up to you if you want to drink or not. I'm like, I'm putting this into my body. Clearly, it's doing something very bad if I'm going to feel that horrible the next day. Even after 2 or 3, I guess the older you get, it impacts you more than ever. But I also wanted to be a role model for my children because my family, none of them are alcoholics, but they drink. My in-laws, they drink. I'm like, I wanted to show that you can still be fun, right? You can still have a big life and not have to have that drink just to show that it doesn't have to be part of your life.
Yeah.
Either for it.
I get it. People use it as a vice. So they have a hard day at work or they just aren't happy with where they are in their life. And I mean, I still work in a restaurant. I still serve people drinks and I see it. And I see all my regulars all the time. And it's sad because they're literally dropping off.
You're right. And they're
having so many funerals. I'm like, it's a killer and it's sad.
Yep. Oh, very true, Brie. Very true. I want to talk about your journey into NRT and getting, is it licensed? Is it a certification? Because I know you have a very interesting story through it and just the timing of it all. And we always believe in God's divine timing for it too. What was that process like to get certified in it? And tell us about that journey for you.
So I started a couple years ago. I went through the process of figuring out which program I was going to go through. Now it seems like there's a lot of other options to become fully certified. At the time, I just thought there was one, which was through ULAN in Florida. And I was lucky enough to be on the cusp of the COVID online world. So I did half of my class online. Took me about almost a year to finish. And I made it all the way. At the time I was pregnant with my son and I made it to the very end. I had my last class in person down in Florida. So I brought my husband and my daughter. I'm like, I'm too close to having this baby or coming. I'm not going to have this baby by myself down here in case, God forbid. And sure enough, I flew home and we were done. I was done my class at 36 weeks pregnant.
And when was your son born? How many weeks?
2 weeks later.
Just in the nick of time.
Just in time.
For it. Also, and then you said that you were practicing on your husband, so it would stay fresh in your mind when you.
Yeah, I would just grab everybody's arm. I'm like, get over here. I need to practice. They're like, what? What are you doing? I'm like, just don't worry about it. Just let me practice. I'll just run down the drills in my brain. And they're like, okay, whatever you say.
You can just feel the passion you have for this because you see how much it helps people. Not intrusive, easy. It's great for children. Like you said, you don't have to prick them with needles. You can do it virtually or with them in the room running around too, because it's so hard as a parent trying to figure out. I know I've been saying I want to get my son to you too, because I'm pretty sure he has reflex as well. Right. Figuring it out as a parent, like, and it's just hard with their eating habits and what they're willing to eat, not willing to eat, trying to track what they're getting at school as well. But we're going to take a quick break and then we're going to talk even more about Brie's chapter, her journey with her daughter through Lyme's disease, and how NRT was really able to help her as well. So we'll be right back, ladies. At PinkFix Production, your story matters. Your voice matters. You matter. It is a privilege to hear your story because of the truth behind it. But it also takes a courageous woman to be bold enough to tell their story, knowing some will judge you, but most, yes, most, will applaud you. We want you to step into being a thought leader and making change in this world because let's face it, lady, you won't feel satisfied until you make your mark on the world. We accomplish this through several forms of media, podcasts, book publishing, magazines, TV shows, and events. We take you through our 5-step proven process to becoming a thought leader. From getting clarity over your mission, building confidence to use your voice, leveraging the media to declare your mission, aligning with strategic partners, and how to launch your legacy. Yes, we build a platform with you so you can ignite your revolution. All right, we are back with Brianna Frost-Smith, all about nutrition response testing, your gut. What does it mean, Marie, to regain your gut's wisdom, your body's wisdom?
So I was lying in bed trying to figure out a title for this one. And as I was procrastinating writing this book, waiting till the very last 11:55 to submit, regaining your body's wisdom came to me because I just feel it's so important that we need to hone in, especially as women, like we need to hone in on our motherly instincts, our innate, just to feel our bodies again. I feel like we are so disconnected from reality and from what's really going on in here a lot of times because we're always so busy and we're just on the go. So really honing in on how we feel is just super important. The gut has a huge, they call it your second brain. Your gut is your second brain. So if your gut is off balance and you have leaky gut or you have IBS symptoms, we really need to start taking a step back, focusing on what is actually going on in our world and what our reality really is on a daily basis and figure out what's going on. Because without our body functioning and our body's wisdom, we're just going to be robots and just going with the same old routine, I feel like, and just not really feeling alive. So
Sure. Yeah, not running optimally. And then I'm sure that's when the symptoms come out too, right?
Yep.
The skin, right? And I said to you, one of the first things I noticed was my complexion changed and evened out. And I remember looking, and I think this happens with all women, right? We look at other women, we're like, oh my gosh, if I could just have her skin, if I could just have her stomach, if I could just have her arm, it's like starting with, what is happening internally in my body that I can't see? And I feel like that NRT, nutrition response testing, opens up that lens to be able to look inside your body. What's working against you right now? We talk about that with our money, right? What's working against us with our money? What's working for us? Like supplements for our money, supplements for our body as well. But I noticed my skin complexion, my sleep as well, right? My bloating, like a lot of these secondary symptoms that I wasn't on my radar to fix or to heal started to really change for me.
Good.
It's been incredible. Well, let's talk about your daughter. She had a very scary diagnosis of Lyme's disease. How old was she?
She was 3.
Baby. Oh my goodness. So young. It must have been horrifying and devastating to find this out.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot. I went into full-blown panic mode in my brain. I just kept it all cool for everybody else around the house because my husband was freaking out. Everybody in my family was really pushing for us to do the antibiotics. And I just knew deep down inside that we had other options first. And I really wanted to dive down the rabbit hole because I was familiar with Lyme, but I wasn't fully involved with Lyme. So after my daughter was diagnosed, I watched numerous videos of all these amazing doctors that have helped so many people do it the holistic way. And I had quantum tested her before she got her blood work, and it lined up exactly to what her blood work had came out as. And I showed my husband, and I'm like, if I couldn't even guess this if I tried. Like, I didn't know she had parasites and she had issues with the mold and she had the Lymes. Then parasites came out on the blood work. I'm like, okay, well, this is all making sense now why everything is coming out. So it was a very scary ride at the time, but I was very confident that since she was so young and active, that she could kick it, and she was able to.
Wow.
Great.
That's incredible. And you're talking about how Lyme disease is a great mimicker, right? So it's hard to diagnose Lyme.
Yeah. It's a lot of times people just misdiagnose it and miss it, and they just brush it off as something else. And you can go years without even knowing you have it. You could get it from a mosquito bite. People don't even realize. You could get it from in utero. You could pass it down to your babies.
Oh, scary. Yeah, I've met with women and they think they might have had Lyme disease for decades.
Yeah. It becomes very debilitating, and it's scary because one day you could be fine and then all of a sudden you can't walk the next day, which is what happened with my daughter. Her knees swell up. They were so inflamed. I had to carry her to the bathroom. She sat on the couch for a week until she was finally able to, swelling was able to go down, and we were able to start her detox program. And it was intense, but we got through it. And she's so great. She had dark circles under her eyes that were just, every time I see a baby now or a young kid that has dark circles under their eyes, I'm like, oh, I just want to help them because it's not normal. So that doesn't have them anymore. So it's like, wow, she was really sick and we didn't even know. It was just.
So that's a clue for moms. So something's not right if they have kids have dark circles under their eyes.
Yeah, it could be many things though. It could be a deficiency in a vitamin. It could be exposure to mold, and it could be even just mold from their school. And that's another thing.
Oh my God.
What schools don't have mold? Because I feel like that's a big thing right now too. It's everywhere.
And you hear schools having to close down because of mold. How bad is the mold that they're actually forcing them to close down?
Yeah, exactly.
That bad of a point. Let's talk about the healing journey. All right. Okay. So when somebody meets with you, we do the NRT testing. You find out what are these triggers that their body is reacting poorly to, or that are stuck in there, like the metals that are stuck in their body. And then take us through working with you, Bri.
So I like to see people for 12 weeks as a follow-up. Every other week would be ideal. It depends on the person. Sometimes I can push them out a little bit longer, but in the beginning stages, it's super important to hone in on these follow-up visits and not skip, because your dosage for supplements change, or we need to add different things, because when we go through a program, it's literally like peeling an onion. So we get one layer down and we go to the next layer, and so many different things could be popping up later down the road once your body is starting to fix itself from the inside that we weren't aware of on the first visit, because that stressor or that particular organ just needed to be addressed right at that moment in order to get the process rolling. So 12 weeks would be follow-ups. And then after that, it's more like a maintenance phase, depending on your body, but everybody's different. Some people have been sick for a very long time, so it's going to take a while for their body to start to recoup and change up. So it all depends.
That's good to set up that expectation, and a good point, right? You've been dealing with this for how many years? It's not going to be overnight change. You might start to feel better.
Yeah.
But overall, so the supplements that we take, and I'm taking my supplements currently too. So you take those for that healing process, and then do they continue after, just to a different degree? Or
some might stick. Yeah, some might stick with you for a while. It all depends. Some are different. Some are more like just a nutrient that we're missing, like minerals, or I like to suggest as a multivitamin like beef liver, stuff like that. So
okay,
we are probably always going to need some sort of supplement because of the way that our food is grown these days. We have nothing in our soil anymore that's nutritious at this point, because we have over processed everything so much. I said to my grandma the other day, I'm like, she's 80 something years old, and it's not like when she was a kid. I'm like, you could eat one apple and get all the nutrients you need from one apple back then. Today, you need 6 of those apples to make up for one.
Oh my goodness, that is crazy, Bri. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And the detox portion, is that while you're taking the supplements? Is it before, during, after?
Everybody's different. So some people, I don't like to just jump into a detox with anybody. I like to open up drainage pathways first. So drainage is super important before people start to really do like a full-blown parasite cleanse or heavy metal detox, stuff like that. Like, depends on how severe everybody is. But when you are, if your lymph nodes are stagnant and you're not exercising and you're not running and you're just sitting at a desk all day, then we need to do some drainage work first before we start doing some sort of detox, because your body is just going to react and you're going to have a reaction and call me up and say, hey, I feel like I have the flu. What the heck is going on? And I feel way worse. So we never want any of that to happen.
That makes sense.
Do the detox.
Need a path for it to go to. Oh, fascinating. Awesome, Bray. Well, we're going to take one more quick commercial break, and then we have some very important questions for Bray when we get back, ladies. But this has been a fascinating conversation about your gut health and nutrition. All right, we'll see you soon. Stop playing small, and girl, stop hiding your story. Your story matters. It is a privilege to hear your story. So get out there and tell it. Unlock this remarkable potential of your life story and go on an extraordinary journey towards becoming a best-selling author and a thriving entrepreneur. Just look at some of our financial trendsetters who became a best-selling author, who went on to lead more multi-author anthology books. Donna Cates in Divorce Decoded, a manifesto for women going through divorce. Or Caroline Tannis, Rise and Find, to put together a community that encompasses all of a woman, not just these small pieces of her. Or Camille Roberson, putting together a groundbreaking book, Beyond the Broker, for women in the financial industry. All these ladies use their story to build a platform and broadcast it out to the world while building these communities, fostering, nurturing their clients, their relationships, and giving back. All of these book proceeds are going towards nonprofits, foundations, scholarships, to build even more resources out there for women. And that's what we do here at Pink Fix Productions. We amplify your voice, get your story to be told, and in the hands of the right audiences. That's how we got you, girl. All right, we are back with Brianna Frost-Smith, who is a practitioner of nutrition response testing. Just incredible. I want to ask you, Brie, what are the common reasons women come to you, would you say? You've noticed any trends?
Yes, it seems like fatigue, bloating, infertility is huge, since that's on the rise, unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
so
I feel like they're just blaming the age of women, right? That we're having kids later in life, but you're finding it's also comes back to their nutrition. Their body.
Yeah. And our toxic load. Our toxic load is so important to really start eliminating those things at home.
Yeah, that made me think of some more women to send your way, Brie. Fascinating. Okay, so fatigue.
Eczema is another one. A lot of people are dealing with some severe eczema, and that all goes back to your gut issues that you have.
See that with a lot of children these days.
Yes.
And going into the daycare. My son had it. He outgrew it pretty quickly, but I think it went to the formula that he was on.
Boy, there's a lot of food sensitivities, unfortunately, too, that factor into that. And it's hard because they're already picky eaters when they're little. So,
oh my gosh, yes. We have some time. Let's talk about when your system is flipped. What causes it, what it means, because I know both myself and Caroline, who went to you as well for the NRT testing, Caroline Tannis, who's one of the authors of Rise and Find. What happens when your system is flipped, and what does it mean?
So when you are, when you have a switch, is what I call it. So when your nervous system is switched, it basically just means that you're not operating at your full potential. Your nervous system is either overloaded with stress, which is always common, and it could be environmental or it could be internal. It could be chemicals, metals, radiation, any of those stressors. So we figure out what the stressors are to unswitch you to help your body function at its optimal. So if you are switched and you say you were to press the brake, you're actually pressing the gas internally. Or if you were to take Benadryl and you get super hyper, but it's supposed to make you kind of drowsy, your nervous system is not functioning properly. It's just switched. So a lot of times minerals, when it comes to stress, minerals tend to test well for people that are switched for stress. And if they focus on breathing and yoga and just really lightening their load, a lot of times that will start to repair and fix itself naturally on top of the extra help that it needs.
Wow. You hear it, ladies. So new meditation, breath work helps your digestive system. Because we always think, right, how much does stress have an impact on my body, on my health, on how I'm digesting things? So this is proof, ladies, that there is a huge impact on it. Your nervous system is flipped. It's doing the opposite of what you want it to do, what you're trying to get it to do, or what the supplements are trying to get it to do as well. And is it easy to flip back and forth?
It can. I mean, a lot of times though, when people start with me and they come for a full visit, they'll start off for a couple of weeks being switched, and then from then on out, they do a great job of cutting out certain foods that they need to, or just really taking their supplements on time, and it kind of just starts to level out, and I don't see them switched anymore, which is amazing.
Oh, that's fantastic. There's hope. There is hope. I had one more question. Oh, and women sleeping, right? So when we're stressed and we're not sleeping well, is it because our nervous system is flipped?
It could be a lot of things. It could be we are deficient in minerals. I always focus on that. And magnesium, there is a huge deficiency in magnesium we don't even realize. And a lot of times magnesium tests really well for people that don't sleep and that have a hard time sleeping. But we also have to remember, like, we should be cutting out electronics before 2 hours before bed. We shouldn't be watching movies before bed. All that blue light that's just honing in on our nervous system and our eyes, we're just absorbing it all. And it's just not really great to get a good night's sleep. We should be in bed before 10 so our circadian rhythm levels out and stuff like that. So
yeah, I've heard one doctor say put your phone on black and white mode, on grayscale, and that does, because it's like a slot machine, our phone. Yeah. We figured out the colors, right, the design to keep us super engaged and not wanting to put it down. And then we're teaching our children the same thing as well. Well, we're rounding out into the segment of the show where we're going to ask you a few pivotal questions that we ask all of our guests, Bri. And our first one is, what is your rise and find tip for the readers of the book, viewers of this season of the show? What would you tell them?
Throw out your air fresheners that are in your house and your plug-ins. Get rid of them. Scented candles, get rid of them. I know we all love the smell of apple crisp and all the fall stuff, but switching to essential oils would be way better, just to get rid of some of the toxic load. And it's just a simple, quick removal from your daily routine. And even just starting with body wash, if you run out of certain body washes, just switching over to like a cleaner product, because our skin is absorbing everything and it's our largest organ. So if we eliminate putting toxic products on our body, then we'll definitely lighten the load for sure.
Yeah, that's what came up. Was it fragrance? Like testing, right, Bri? And you think like perfume right here, but right by my throat, which is where I have the issues. That's true. It's absorbing into the blood. So it's not just what we're putting into our mouths, but what are we putting on our bodies? Yeah. And our children too. Very good tip. Simple, easy. We can all do it. I know we all, especially with the fall, we have the pumpkin spice, apple spice, and whatnot. And then we go into the holidays for it too. We all love those smells for it. Get the natural ways for those smells. Mull some apples on your stovetop.
Yeah. There you go.
What about a rise and find trend? What are you noticing with women, Bri?
I'm just noticing that everybody is starting to finally wake up and be aware of what's going on and what we are exposed to. And more people are questioning things, which we all should be questioning everything. We should be asking our doctor questions. We shouldn't just say, okay, do whatever you want to do. We should be grilling them because we are hiring them. And it seems like a lot of people are not getting any answers who come to me, and I'm kind of like their last resort, which is sad in a way because I want to be their first resort so we can avoid the frustration and eliminate all the nonsense to get to the root cause of what's really going on.
Sure, ask questions. Ask actually was one of Caroline's tips was, get super curious. What is it that I'm putting into my body? I've also been noticing, the grandparents taking the grandkids out for lunches, and we don't really do fast foods, but it's like a treat. They go with them, and then the next day, I'm like, why does my tummy hurt? I'm like, Levi is not used to that kind of food. But then our parents are like, well, you used to eat that food, and you turned out well. But then you look at how much it has changed. The ingredients are not the same as they used to be.
Yeah, 100%.
And food, the cost of food, we know with inflation, has skyrocketed. So they're constantly looking for what's the cheaper way to build the same kind of product.
Yeah.
And how many of our foods are illegal in other countries? I mean, we could keep going on forever, Brie, too. I want to ask you, too, as we're rounding out our interview, what are some good places for people to shop? We've talked about, there's these different places that can ship you good quality meats, right? And I know that these are shameless plugs. We are not sponsored or influenced by these companies, but what would you recommend, Brie?
I would recommend finding a local farmer and working with them.
Local farmer.
Honestly.
Buying like a quarter of a cow.
Yep.
To do that growing up.
Yeah, there's a lot of local farmers, especially, we live in New Jersey, so it's not very far just to cross over to Pennsylvania border and go over and pick up your meat get a half a cow and fill up some freezers. We're actually going to be doing that this weekend. I'm taking my kids to a farm to learn how to milk a cow and see we get raw milk every week. So I really want my kids to see where their milk is coming from and how it's coming into the house. It doesn't just show up from the grocery store. But farm, we get our raw milk from Miller's Bio Farm, Pennsylvania, and it's phenomenal. Like the fat count on the milk on the top layer is just incredible. How much you really feel like you're actually drinking something that's nutritious instead of watered down from like milk from the grocery store.
Watered down. Yes, sure. So you're recommending go local. Right?
Go local if you can.
Local, yeah. Find a good farmer, depending on where you are or where you can easily commute to or where they can ship to as well.
And ask them questions. Ask them if they are just strictly grass-fed beef, because it's super important as well as to make sure you're eating grass-fed.
Good. Thank you, Brie. All right, one more question as we're rounding out tonight's interview with Brianna Frost-Smith.
What makes you a woman behind the millions?
What makes you a woman behind the millions? We tried so hard to get Andy Girl to slow it down.
Thank you.
Louder.
Love it.
We were getting there, but yes, what makes you a woman behind the millions?
That's a good question. I've never been in it for the money. I've always just wanted to help everyone out. And I really just feel the need to help millions if I can. And I really want this message to get out to everybody that there is not a dead end. Don't feel like there is a dead end.
That's a good message. When you feel like you have tried every which way, you're just stuck in a corner. That's not the case. There is always an option and a way. And Brie is an amazing advocate for you to find out what that is. So, Brie, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Natural Connections LVI, or you can go on my website at naturalconnections.squares.site.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Brie, for spending time with us tonight for your chapter in Rise and Find. Cannot wait for this book to come out November 2024. Go to pinkfixproductions.com for more information. And we will see you next week on Women Behind the Millions. Thanks for tuning in, Money Queens. Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.
Hey, Money Queens, looking to get your wealth to that next level, 7, 8, 9 figures? Follow us on Instagram at pinkfixmymoney and at Women's Wealth Boutique for more millionaire money tips.